stash, the January challenge. Tula Pink sent me some great goodies to give away for the giveaway tonight. The Bella quilted coat pattern. Tonight's bag lab will be how to make a hidden strap holder, and there's a great giveaway at the end. I'm Sarah Lawson from Sew Sweetness. Thanks so much for joining me for Sewcial Sunday, my monthly sewing chat. Hey everyone, happy Sunday. Welcome to Sewcial Sunday. Thanks so much for joining me for the show, whether you're watching live or you're watching the recording later on during your week. My usual spam reminder, if you're watching over on Facebook and you get a private message from what looks like our Sew Sweetness logo, usually they're asking you to click on a link and submit information like credit card number, address, phone number. Please report or block that. And if you're watching over on YouTube and you've left a comment on the show and you see a follow-up to your comment, again, it's usually a copy of our Sew Sweetness logo. Sometimes there's a phone number asking you to call, give them information in order to claim a prize. Please report or block that as well. I always announce the winner's name verbally on the show, and we have the winner's name typed into the description of the show as well. And also, everything that I'm scheduled to talk to you about are things that I've purchased myself. So these are not things that I'm getting paid to talk to you about, but just cool things that I found that I'd like to share with you. So the notion of the month, always my favorite part of the show. I've been saving this for a few months just because I've had, I've been in the lucky circumstance to have a kind of a backlog of notions that I wanted to talk to you about. So this is the Quilters Multi Mat. And Danny's going to switch over to the overhead camera so I can show you what it looks like. So this is kind of like a travel, or if you just have a smaller space in your sewing room that you just want to cut and iron some blocks or other items, this is it. So the front and back is sort of like a fabric, a canvas fabric, and it's got some cushioning to it. This is great for, you can open it up, press your smaller pieces, quilt blocks, things like that. And then when you open it up on the inside, there's a few different areas to discuss. So one, there's a cutting mat section that you can use with your rotary cutter, and this is 12 inches by 8 inches, so just a smaller area, but you know, sometimes we have smaller projects and that fits the bill. And then this little sleeve over here is good if you're laying out pieces such as a quilt block, because the pieces will temporarily kind of stick to the surface. And then if I just move that to the side, this is sort of a sandpaper coated section. If you're cutting out pieces, not with a rotary cutter, but if you're just maybe drawing out your pattern pieces on fabric, as we know, sometimes the fabric slips, so the sandpaper will help kind of hold the fabric in place, so while you're drawing out your pieces, it won't shift. So again, this is not for rotary cutter, this is just for marking, and maybe if you're cutting something out with scissors. So I thought this was really cool. Someone had this at my retreat this past September, and so I got one for myself. And this is the Quilters Multi Mat, and I've linked to this item in the description of tonight's show. And I have a question for you. Let me know in the comments, what is your favorite size cutting mat surface? Let me know. I have a few different cutting mats in my sewing room. I currently have my favorite cutting mat on my dining room table, and that one is 24 inches by 36 inches. That's my favorite because if I'm cutting like fabric strips for a quilt, in my opinion, that's a really good size. Rebecca says that would be great to take when traveling places. Yeah, that's a great idea. This would be good to store in a tote bag if you're working on, say, like English paper piecing or something like that, or yeah, things like that. This would be great, like a little organizer. Oh, thanks, Suzanne. Suzanne says hit the like button. Thank you very much. Also, I wanted to let you know about the January challenge, which is now underway. You have until January 30th to complete any Sew Sweetness pouch that your heart desires. So maybe the new Doolittle pouch, or maybe a pouch from one of the Minikin sets, or any Sew Sweetness pouch is open for this challenge. The full instructions are linked to in the description of tonight's show. And in addition to the pouch, I've also given you a few optional extra things that you might be interested in either listening to or reading or baking this month. So I've got, there's the graphic for the challenge. I've got a link to a podcast episode about why sewing matters. And in the link, there's the audio for the podcast and also a bunch of photographic samples of the hand-stitched items that were discussed in the podcast. So very neat. I thought it was really informative. We'll be discussing briefly the podcast in next month's show. I've got a book for you. It's called The Correspondent. Danny's going to put a picture up on the screen. It's not a sewing themed book, but for the challenges, I decided finding sewing themed books that are good can get challenging sometimes. So I thought I will just pick a book, whether it's sewing themed or not, that I really enjoyed, that I thought you would as well. And you might be able to find that at your local library. It's kind of a more recent title. And also I've got a recipe, one of my personal favorites. So all three of those are linked to in the blog post for the January challenge. Great news, my friend Tamara, who, if you've been around for book club years ago, Tamara did book club with me. She'll be joining me on the February 1st Sewcial Sunday live show. We'll be talking about the pouches that we made for the challenge. I'll be showing photographs of all of the pouches that you completed for the challenge. We'll very briefly discuss what we thought about the podcast and the book. And there will be prizes at the end of that February 1st show as well. So very exciting. I'm really looking forward to it. And again, the link is in the description if you want to read the full details of the January challenge. All right, so a bunch of new fabrics that I've added to my stash. Danny's going to switch back over to the overhead camera so that I can show you what I picked up recently. So this one's a Valentine's themed set of panel prints, so it would be good for a quilt or some pouches. I'll try to show the designs in the camera. This is designed by Lizzie House. I really like let me open the fabric. The kitties are my favorite. I got this for, I think I will probably make maybe a quilt with it, with the quilt blocks. That one's really cute too. And the rest of the fabric line features some of the designs, similar designs as shown in the panels. This next set of fabrics is designed by Juicy Juice, and I really like the kind of vintage nature of these particular prints. I'm not sure what I'll make with them yet, but you know me, I'm picking up 1 yard cuts for all of these. I really like in particular the really light ones. I don't often see such light fabrics like these two right here, and with a print, like a larger print. I really like these a lot. This one's probably my favorite out of the bunch. It's sort of a maybe an army green background. I like the teal color of the flowers, and I got it in the 3 different colorways. Actually, now that I'm looking at this one, I like that one a lot too. All 3 are great. This next one is from Crystal Manning. I just got the 2 prints in different colorways. This is like a plum colored background color, and this teal one just really popped out when I saw it. Love it. Looks amazing. And then this next section of fabrics are all designed by Kitty McCall. And I got 2 yards of this one because I just liked the navy background, and the colors really popped. And then this 3rd one I got. So if you're interested in any of these fabrics, I've linked to all of them in the description in case you're interested in checking them out after the show. I have a question for you. I was thinking about this earlier today. when you're choosing fabric for a lining, do you prefer or do you make a conscious effort to choose either a light or dark print? I've heard people say in the past that they sometimes prefer a lighter print for their lining just so they can more easily see the items in their bag, like keys or phone, things like that. Maybe it doesn't matter to you. Let me know in the comments what you think about either a light or dark colored fabrics for your linings. All right, so I just wanted to give you a little preview of the giveaway for tonight because it's such a great one. Actually, I'm going to have Danny switch to the overhead camera. Tula Pink sent me these. She had previously offered these signed prints on her website. I noticed they're sold out now. But these are designs from her gray work fabric line and also some holographic stickers. So I'm going to be giving these away at the end of the show. I'm going to give away some live and then some. You'll have a week to enter the giveaway for this. So stay tuned for this. I just wanted to show you, give you a little sneak peek on that. Also, I was just thinking while I was sitting here getting ready for tonight's show, I don't know how many years ago it was that we did like a meetup. I remember we went to lunch at Olive Garden and a lot of So Sweetness fans showed up, and I just remember I was thinking about that earlier today, how nice that was and how great it would be to do something like that again, or just like once in a while, like in person, not a sewing class where I'm teaching, but just, you know, like a get together, like a lunch or a dinner, or maybe a sewing day where you just sew the project of your choice. I'm located in the Chicago area, so that's where these would be for now, since it's not technically a sewing class where I'm teaching. But let me know if you're local and you'd be interested in something like that. You can just drop it in the comments. I don't know, just something I was thinking about. Maybe we can plan something for maybe end of February or something like that. Just a quick, easy, fun thing, community type thing that I was thinking. All right, anyway, moving along. I wanted to share, in lieu of the book review for tonight, I wanted to share the new Bella quilted coat pattern and the expansion packs. Danny's going to switch over to the overhead camera. So these are from Quilting Elisa, produced by Annie, and it's one pattern and the 2 different expansions. So this is the quilted coat that you might have seen on social media, and let me flip to the back so you can see like the different views. It's a zippered coat. And then the expansion is for the accent sleeves, so right here with the different quilted designs, and also for the back and the front of the coat. So lots of different options for customizing. You could either make your coat plain with just the base pattern, or if you get the expansion packs, you can really dive into your stash and pull out some fabrics and make a really detailed quilted coat. I think if anyone saw you in public wearing this coat, I would say you'd probably get at least 5 people stopping you and asking, where did you get that? Wow, that's so amazing. So I'm really looking forward to starting this, and I'm definitely going to be adding in all the expansion details. But I've linked to the pattern in the description in case you're interested in that. And for tonight's bag lab, actually, Danny, are you ready?
I don't know.
Interrupting the show for a special report.
Because now it is time for Bag Lab.
All right, for tonight's bag lab, I wanted to talk about this. The reason this bag is so huge is this is the sewing machine travel bag. And for this particular bag, you've probably made bags before where the handle might be just top stitched to the top of the bag. Maybe you've installed some rivets, that's completely fine. But maybe you want a different look where the handles appear to just be top stitched to the top of the bag, but they actually extend down to the bottom. Maybe you want some extra strength and stability like is needed for this sewing machine travel bag. But if you're making your bag out of quilting cotton or another fabric that will fray, you can't just cut slits in your fabric, insert your handle pieces, and call it a day. So for tonight's bag lab, I wanted to talk about what to do when you want your handle pieces to appear to be top stitched, but to extend down to the bottom of the bag, how to construct that. It's fast and easy, and I have a free template for you as well to download. So enjoy tonight's demonstration. For making hidden straps or strap tabs, before we switch over to the overhead camera, I just wanted to share with you a couple of bags before I get into the demonstration, so I can share with you how you can potentially work the hidden straps or strap tabs into a project. So this is the Amethyst project bag. As per the pattern, the straps are just top stitched to the front and the back of the bag, which completely fine, but this is an opportunity to perhaps work in those hidden strap tabs by having, I don't know what else I was going to say, by having them be hidden, I guess. This is the triple threat briefcase, and on the side of the bag there's a little fabric tab over here, again top stitch, but another example of an opportunity where you could work in the hidden tabs into a bag. So Danny's going to switch over to the overhead camera, and before I get started with the demonstration, I'm going to show you what exactly is a hidden strap or strap tab. So in this example, this is a front of the bag. I haven't attached the other side of the strap yet, but let me flip to the back side so you can see the strap comes through an opening, and I've actually stitched it down to the bottom of what will be the front and back of the bag. You can either, there's a lot of different options for securing this. You can just top stitch it in place. You can use a rivet in one or two or both places. So I've prepared some step outs so that I can show you how exactly to get this going for your bag. So I have a PDF linked to in the description of the show. The PDF just has this handle overlay piece that you'll need to cut out first. And after cutting it out, it should look like this. So if you'll notice, I've preserved the line on the inner edge. That's really important. We don't want the opening to be too big so you can see the wrong side of your interfacing. And before the show, I prepared what will be the front of the bag. I've attached my exterior fabric to the foam interfacing. Again, the interfacing will depend on what particular project that you're working on. And so first what I'm going to do is I'm going to transfer this inner rectangle to the wrong side of a piece of fabric that I cut out, the same fabric as the exterior. I did not cut out the inner section yet, and you'll need 4 of these pieces. So 2 for the front of the bag and 2 for the back of the bag. So what I'm just going to do is take my friction pen. I'm going to lay the paper template over the fabric, and I'm just going to draw that inner rectangle. And you do the same thing for all 4 pieces of the fabric. Again, the fabric is just by itself, no interfacing. And then you'll need to decide placement for where you want the opening to be, and you'll need to replicate that placement for the right hand side of the bag as well as the back piece of the bag, so the second portion, just like this. So what I did is I just used my ruler, and I decided, well, I'd like this piece to be 2 inches down and 2 inches over, and just remember the opening is a little bit further down and to the side than the edge of the fabric. If you'd like to, before attaching this to the main body of the bag, you can either serge or zigzag. You can use seam sealant, or you can just leave it as is. That just kind of finishes the edge of the fabric. All right, so what I did here, after positioning this little handle overlay piece, I placed it right sides together with the body of the bag, and I just stitched directly on top of the line. You can see my stitches here. Especially with a small rectangle like this, you may find while you're stitching with your usual stitch length, and my usual stitch length is 2.5 millimeters, you may find that when it comes time to sew directly into the corner where the 2 lines intersect, your next stitch might kind of go slightly past the line. So what I like to do is I like to decrease my stitch length to either 1 millimeters or 1.5 millimeters, hand crank for 1 stitch to come down directly in the corner and then turn back to my regular stitch length. So that's only if you notice that you'll either be coming up short or possibly be stitching past the line. All right, so I've stitched my line over there. Now I'm going to use my seam sealant to get a little opening started, and because the stitches are so close together on top and bottom, just be really careful when you're cutting that you're not cutting through the stitches. So I'm going to get a little opening started, and then I'm going to use my scissors to cut the rest of the way. Normally for zipper pockets, I am cutting a small V in the corners, but because the stitches are so close together, I felt more comfortable just cutting a straight line like that. Okay, so now comes the time to push that handle overlay fabric through the opening, and this is what it will look like on the wrong side of the fabric. So the sides might look a little bit bunched up, but from the front edge, it looks definitely a lot nicer. So I'm going to use my fingers to kind of roll the seam out so that the fabrics are wrong sides together. And then I'm going to use my iron to press from the wrong side of the fabric. I used a fabric glue pen, and this is by Fons and Porter. We sell these on the website in case you're interested in that. I just applied glue to the fabric, and then with a hot dry iron, set the glue in place. Okay, let me grab my next piece. All right. So there's a few options for finishing. I stitched 1/8 of an inch away from both the top edge and the bottom. If you know you'll be stitching your handle down, at least on the lower portion, you might want to wait to top stitch the lower portion. And I used a lengthened stitch length for this. So this is what the opening looks like after it's been stitched. And then you'll just need to prepare your strap. So this is a 1 inch wide strap, which fits in this opening. I just prepared my strap like I normally do, kind of like double fold bias tape. I left one end open just so I could show you exactly what I mean by that. So wrong sides together in half, and then I pressed both the lower and the upper edge in toward the center crease and pressed one more time, and the strap is top stitched 1/8 of an inch away from both of the long edges. All right, so the strap will just be inserted through the right side of the fabric. I'm going to pull it down to the bottom edge and making sure it's straight, just stitch it down 1/8 of an inch should be fine. You'll repeat the same process for the right hand side of this front portion of the bag, and let me pull the finished portion out again so that I can show you. And again, there's a few options. If you'd like to attach rivets, you can do that. If you would only like to secure the top stitching, it will still be sturdy enough just because the strap is attached along the bottom edge. So hopefully that was helpful. It gives you a few other options as far as straps or tabs on your bag, except part of them are hidden. So hope you enjoyed that demonstration. I have a giveaway at the end of the show still, and all right, now we're moving along to Danny's picks of the month.
Wow, that was quick. Up first, we've got Angelfish bag made by Casey. I just love the fabric she chose. Another Angelfish made by Jennifer. It's such unique looking bags, so different with different fabrics. Then we got a Baptista iron from Michelle Graham from our group. Chickadee bag by the Nifty Fox. You gotta love Star Wars. We've got a Darner bag by Lori. I love the fabrics. You can make bags look so unique. Another Darner from Marianne, and with the quilt block for the outside pocket. Looks great. And then another Darner by Vasiliski. I hope I say your name right. I'm sorry. And she also made a Doolittle bag, and I really love this Doolittle bag. Such good fussy cutting and zipper pulls. Sean Torres made the Enigma, and if you look, it's a dentist-themed bag, I would call it. A Pierce crossbody bag by Michelle Graham. Great photography on that, Michelle. And then she's got a personal ensign bag. Both of them really good job with finished product. And a rhetorical pouch by Anne Renee. I love the little owls in there, so cute. And then we got another rhetorical by Susan Brownlee. Love the photography on this. Great job on the bag. And then we have a Zeppelin pouch by Sean again. And she did a fries and burger. It's really cool fabric.
I was laughing while that was playing because I feel like the speed of that you had the photos set up, you were almost like...
In a race?
In a race, did you write down the names of all the projects or did you have to think about them?
No, I have everything written down in my brain.
Okay, because I was just thinking if you hadn't written down the pattern names and you had to like think of them from memory, like that would be challenging for you, I would
Baptista
think.
would have been a challenge.
Yeah. Good job, everyone, and thanks for sharing your pictures on social media. So I'm going to get to the giveaway in just a second. We're going to do some live, like I mentioned, and then some as I usually do. But before that, great question, Amy. Amy says, how am I going to choose my pouch for the January challenge? So many choices. I'm curious if I counted how many pouches I've designed, how many there are. I wonder if is it crazy to think I've done 40 or 50, Danny? I don't know. Can we submit more than one pouch for the challenge? Great question. Yes, you can submit as many as you can sew from now until January 30th. Each one will count as an individual method of entry. So if you make 5 pouches, that's 5 methods of entry for the prizes on the February 1st show. They were all great. Love the new patterns. Thank you so much, and thank you for sewing. That backpack was amazing. The quilt block really made that project a standout. All right, so I'm going to be answering some questions live. Hopefully Danny's been collecting the questions throughout tonight's show, but if you think of a question, you can type it in the comments now, wherever you're watching our show, either on Facebook or YouTube. Well, I have over 80 of your patterns, so that wouldn't, I'm going to fill that in, wouldn't surprise me. Well, thank you so much, Amy. I really appreciate that. What are those characters figurines on the shelf behind you at the top? Those are Danny's. Danny, can you name like a couple of those?
Yeah, one is from One Piece, the anime. The second one is All Might from another anime. And the third one is Pickle Rick from a cartoon.
And I have some Breyer horses, like model horses up there, but I think you could just see the legs of one of the horses, but I have a few more on a higher shelf too.
I'm not seeing a lot of questions coming through.
Well, while the Bag Lab was playing, I was thinking about what I said earlier about the in-person meetups, and I wonder if it wouldn't be, since we're so nearby other states, I wonder if it wouldn't be super crazy to have like a meetup sometimes in like another state, like Wisconsin, Indiana. I don't know. My mind just started going. Catherine says, what is the name of the sewing machine travel bag? Actually, that's the name, sewing machine travel bag. So if you Google that, the pattern should come up. Sew Sweetness and then sewing machine travel bag. It actually, I give a link in the pattern to a luggage trolley. So if you'd like, when you finish your bag, you can put it on the luggage trolley. There's a luggage sleeve at the back of the bag, and you kind of wheel your sewing machine from your car to wherever you're taking it to, which is nice. Elizabeth says, where do we post the pictures of the pouches we make in January? You actually just email them to me. So in the link that I placed in the description for the January challenge is the full details, including where you'll be emailing the picture of your pouch, which is sarah@sewsweetness.com. And I'll be collecting all the pictures, and Danny will make a slideshow that will show at the end of the February 1st live show. In the past, we've done, if you've ever done any of the challenges in the past, we've done like a linky tool where you go to the website and upload a photo, but there were some challenges with that, as there always is with technology, and so we decided I'll just collect the photos and we'll make a nice slideshow, and that'll be that. Kyla says, how does the coat close? It closes with a zipper. Yes, it's got a zipper. Let me see if that'll pop up on the camera. It's got a zipper down the front. I don't know. Yeah, I'm trying to see if there's a better picture, but... Well, probably in this one. In this one photo in the top corner, the black going down the front, that's the zipper. Yep. Camille says, "Can you have a virtual meetup?" Oh, that's a good idea. I wonder if, I don't know. I guess I'll have to think how to do that so it could still be fun for those that are attending virtually.
I think everyone would have to attend virtually.
Let me think about that and how we can figure out the technology. Suzanne says, "My son is a trucker. He came through Chicago and called me to say, 'Don't you have a sewing person here?'" Love it. That's funny. What are your patterns, plans, and aspirations for 2026? Well, tomorrow I'm going to begin working on the new patterns. I'm not going to say what they will be at this current point just because there's two I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to pull off. I'm going to try, but we'll see. But I'm going to say they're very different than anything I've attempted before. So fingers crossed, we'll see. Joyce says, "If you want to install a zipper pocket, how do you determine how far down it should go from the top?" Great question. I actually have a free video which you can find on my YouTube channel. If you go to the Sew Sweetness channel and just type in the box in our channel zipper pocket, that video will come up, and I discuss 2 different sizes of pocket as well as how to decide where to place it. So check out that video for the answer to your question. Danny was just telling me earlier that we've got over 80 free instructional videos on the website. Is that right, Danny? Was it 80?
Something like that, if not more.
Yeah. So it's a lot, and you can find that by going to sewsweetness.com. At the top, there's a tab that says tutorials, and under that, there's one that says bag making techniques, and you can find all those free videos there. And a lot of them, just because of the way I like to structure the demonstrations, a lot of them you can implement them into the bag that you're working on. So it's not, the tutorials are not generally for a specific project. They're for, say for example, you want to add a side elastic pocket to a bag that you're making, or a zipper pocket, or a flap to a bag that doesn't already have a flap. So things like that. So you can find all that on my website.
Did you answer this one already?
Yes, I did. When are the newest patterns available to be purchased individually? Great question. So on March 1st, the 4 newest patterns will be available individually. Currently, they're available as a set of 4 with 4 patterns and videos. Hope says, "Could you do sewing bag days for groups and have you join in on a Zoom meeting?" That's a good idea too, Zoom. And if anyone has ideas for a virtual meetup or a virtual Zoom sewing day, I guess I'm just trying to think how I could structure it so it's not just, 25 people on Zoom, like to make it a little more entertaining. If you have any ideas for that, feel free to email me. I'm going to have Danny drop my email address up on the screen. It's sarah@sewsweetness.com. There you go. And I answer all the emails personally. So if you email me, I'm the one who answers. It's coming directly from me. Sorry, Danny, what was that question? Could Danny slow his picks down? I'd love to take a longer look. Maybe for next month, Danny?
Yeah, normally I have multiples of the same bag, but this month there were so many great bags, I chose just a single picture. So you'd get normally like 10 to 15 seconds looking at the bags, and it's 5 seconds per bag normally.
Okay.
But in retrospect, next time I have single bag pictures, they'll be longer. I got you.
Marie says, "What is the size of the sewing machine travel bag?" I got to Google it because I don't remember off the top of my head. Hang on one second. Actually, maybe Danny, you could look that up while I answer this question.
What is it?
Just Google Sew Sweetness sewing machine travel bag and let me know the dimensions after I answer this question. Charlotte says, "What do you think of hand-dyed fabrics like cherry wood for a project? I prefer solids, but like their texture. Would it rub off?" I'm going to try to remember. It was probably over 10 years ago that I believe I did use cherry wood for a small quilted project. I don't remember anything rubbing off. I do remember with fabrics like that's maybe someone can help me, but I believe I starched them so they would not not that they're stretchy, but I guess I'm at a loss for words, but I believe I did starch them for ease of use. But if you've worked with the cherry woods before and you're watching live, feel free to reply in the comments, and I'll try to have Danny look out for your reply so he can post it on the screen. Thank you, Danny. So the size, the sewing machine travel bag is 4 sewing machines, 17 inches by 14 inches by 9 inches and smaller. Did you happen to grab the finished size of the bag, Danny?
That is the finished size.
No, that's for sewing machines that size and smaller.
It says finished size for sewing machines 17 inches by 14 inches by 9 inches and smaller. Finished size is 19.5 inches by 15 inches by 11 inches deep.
Okay. Thanks, Danny.
I'll put it on the text as well.
Awesome. Rita says, thanks, Lowe's, for the bag lab. I need to work on a bag and wanted extra support, and this is perfect for me as a beginner bag maker. I'm so glad it was helpful. I think it's fairly easy enough to implement, and like I mentioned, you can add it to whatever you're working on. Laura says, do you go to quilt shows? Occasionally I do. I went to, not this past May, the year before May, the H&H show in the Chicago area. I don't often travel anymore out of state for trade shows, but Linda says, I've made a cherry wood wall hanging. They were fine to work with. Thanks so much, Linda. I really appreciate you. All right. Cindy says, do you have a pattern for a featherweight bag? A lot of people in the past have made the aeroplane bag for a featherweight. So you might want to check that one out. The airplane bag comes in 2 different sizes. I think, from what I recall, the photos I've seen in the past from the bags people have made, they made size regular for a featherweight, but you'll want to verify the size of your machine and the finished size of the bag and just make sure. But yeah, that's a good one. If you have made a different bag than the airplane bag for a featherweight and you're watching live, feel free to comment, and Danny will try to put that up on the screen. Susan said the Rosemont area is a good spot for those coming in from Indiana and Wisconsin because the highways are so close. Yeah, that's a good point, Susan. Let's see. Have you considered making a pattern for a carry case for large cutting mats and rulers? I find these difficult to take on retreat. The carry case would have to protect them. I do have the Camp Stitch-A-Lot bag, so you might want to check that one out and see if it fits your needs. I designed it to fit a cutting mat, and you can also take rulers with you, and also a bunch of sewing supplies. So again, that's called the Camp Stitch-A-Lot bag, in case you'd like to check that one out for cutting mats and rulers to take it with you to a retreat. Happy New Year. It has been so long since I have been able to catch a live. Always good to reconnect with Sew Sweetness. Thank you so much, Kim. I really appreciate you. I know there's tons of options for watching sewing things on the internet or even non-sewing things, so I recognize that, and I really appreciate you making time to tune in for this show. Like, I don't take that for granted at all, and I'm so thankful you've tuned in for the show. Sherry says, would members be interested in joining their state social Sew Sweetness groups? I think I do have a link, if my memory serves me right, in the description of the show for the state and country groups. But thanks for the reminder, Sherry, and you can join that in case you'd like to connect with Sew Sweetness sewists that are local to you. Hi, Sarah. I missed a lot of your live show today. We'll put a reminder for February 1st. Yeah, I'm really excited for the February 1st show just because in addition to all of the regular Social Sunday content on the February 1st show, my friend Tamara will be also joining me, and we'll have our recap from the January challenge. So that's in addition to the regular content, not in place of it. So our February 1st show will be jam-packed and super fun, and I'm really looking forward to it.
You can also, if you are on the YouTube app, I believe there's a little bell notification you can click, and then it'll give you reminders when we are going live. And I think Facebook, you can also do announcements to automatically remind you. And I believe Sarah sends out a newsletter every week, too, when we are going live. So look out for that newsletter in email. It might go to spam. easy way to find live shows.
I think on Facebook you can add certain pages to your like favorites list. Like there's a few that I have that I favorite, and then when you open Facebook, it puts that at the top, like their newest stuff first. So in case that's an option too. Angela says the chickadee bag will make a great featherweight carrier. Oh, I hadn't even thought of that one. Honestly, I hadn't, but that's an interesting thought, especially since that one's a backpack. Interesting. Denise said, so excited to get back into sewing in 2026. What I did for the month of December is, so in this room that we have the live shows in is where my computer is and my setup for taking step photos for the patterns. So in this room is where the work happens, but I decided we don't normally use our dining room for much of anything really. So I decided to set my other sewing machine in the dining room for like pleasure sewing in the evenings. So I've been working on, like I just finished a quilt top that I need to have quilted. And I kind of like having like I know it's a luxury having like sewing things in two different rooms, but we do use this room for work. But I like having it separate, like a work area and like a pleasure sewing area. So I think that's been really nice because sometimes I have a hard time turning my brain off or shifting between the two, and like having it in a different space is been really working for me. I've been enjoying it. Megan says, I saw your bag patterns featured in 3 different bag makers' best bags of the year. Oh my gosh, I did not know about that. If you have time, feel free to email me after the show because I didn't know, but I'd love to see and comment on them if that's possible. So feel free to let me know. That's awesome. Rachel says, Facebook used to let me know about the live show, not anymore. Yeah, I don't know.
I feel like they're Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, they're always changing their logarithms. And sometimes if you're not looking out for it, you may not see it. And even with announcements, I've seen multiple comments about that. But if you look for the newsletter, I think it's the most efficient way to find out when we're going to go live.
Yeah, it's kind of a bummer that like stuff you're interested in, like you miss it just because of the algorithms or whatever's happening.
Yeah, you'll see stuff you're not even following more than stuff that you're following, which is...
It's kind of a bummer. I have, I use Google Calendar just for like reminders for myself for appointments and things. So maybe, I don't know if you use a calendar type of situation, you can perhaps set it, like I have the ability to set like a recurring reminder. Like I could do like the first of every month or the Sunday and then 4 weeks later. So I don't know, that might be an option too. Nancy says, I have my sewing room and I also have my featherweight and brother machine set up in the den. That's awesome. I love that idea. Shirley says, my Alexa reminds me every Sunday 5 minutes before it starts to turn you on. Bravo, Shirley. And Sherry says, I have an alarm set in my phone as a reminder. Thank you. I really appreciate that more than you know. Thanks, guys. Mary says, how cool, bag maker of the year. I was just talking to a friend, and I said something about, I counted how many years I've been designing patterns for 14 years, and I still learn new things, and I still think I can get better every year. So I think it's kind of fun to look back on the past, but to think you can still improve, I think that's exciting. Laura says, I rely on the newsletter to remind me. Yeah, I send the newsletter out on the Sunday of the show a few hours before, and it varies depending on how quickly I'm able to get my act together that day, to be honest.
I see a lot of people have alarm sets in their calendars.
Oh, yeah.
Multiple comments on that.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Yep. Okay, I think it's about it.
All right, so before we get over to the giveaway, to recap, I'd like to organize either in-person or virtual meetups or things of that nature for this year. If you have any ideas, especially on the virtual end, just because I'm need a little help figuring that part out, feel free to email me. All right, with that, we'll get over to the giveaway. So I'm going to draw 3 live winners, and the 4th winner will be, as per usual, you have until the end of the day this Saturday to leave a comment on the show. And we put all the comments together, and I will announce the randomly drawn winner on next month's show, which is on February 1st. So I'll give you my extra bonus question so you can answer that before I draw the live winners. What is your New Year's resolution? Let me know in the comments right now. I'll give you a second to get those typed in. My New Year's resolution is to do my very best, and your best is different every day, so I will say that. To do my best physically and mentally for this year. So I started working out at the beginning of 2025, and I'm increasing what I'm doing for the workouts a little bit this year. And I like to work out with weight, and that doesn't mean like 100 pounds. It just means what I can do with any given exercise. And now I'm trying to do a little more just because I've been doing about the same, for the past year. And mentally as well, just because I feel like when those two are in a good place, like I feel like then you're like really rocking. So that's my New Year's resolution for this year. Danny, do you have one, or have you thought of anything? It's okay if you haven't. I don't want to put you on the spot. If not, I'll just move along to showing the
I think be more
items.
healthy.
Yeah. Because if you don't have your health, then what do you have, right? So I'll have Danny switch to the overhead again just so I can show you once more the giveaway prizes. I have these art prints, signed art prints from Tula Pink, and some holographic stickers. So I'll divvy these up between the winners. And all right, Danny, you can switch back to the front camera. So all right, 3 live winners, and again, 1 winner you'll have until the end of the day this Saturday. So what numbers am I picking from, Danny?
Scroll down. 1 through 76.
How about 76?
And then 1 through 20.
3. All right, Sheila Hansen is the winner. First winner. Please email me after the show, Sheila. My email is, Danny's going to pop it up on the screen in a second, sarah@soulsweetness.com. And same case for all the winners. Please email me so that I can get you set up with your prize. All right.
It's 1 through 79.
2. And then I'm going to pick 5.
All right, 3, 4, 5.
Bojena Bertolini. Congratulations to you. All right, I'm writing everything down. All right. Excellent. And 1 more live winner. Danny, I'm going to pick number...
It's 1 through 80 now.
60. And I'm going to pick number 7.
7. Thank God you did not pick a high number.
Yeah, I tried.
I guess
to
I
be
can
nice
count
to
from
you.
the bottom up.
Congratulations to Debbie Thacker. And the numbers I'm calling out are just page numbers of the comments. So if we have 80 pages of comments, it's 20 comments per page. So that's the numbers. Just in case you were curious, that's how we were doing the live drawings. But congratulations to the winners. And I have 1 more spot for that drawing that I'll draw at the end of the day this Saturday. So good luck to everyone for the giveaway. And again, our next monthly show is on Sunday, February 1st. My friend Tamara will be joining me for that show for the wrap-up of the January challenge. Very exciting. And the challenges will be once every quarter this year. So it won't be monthly. It'll just be once every quarter. And I'm very excited about that. And thank you so much for joining me for Social Sunday. I had a great time tonight. I hope you did too. I hope you have a great week and happy sewing. Bye, everybody.